All right, now to our next conversation. We're seeing, Nigeria is facing, elevated inflation, high youth employment and growing security challenges while its population continues to expand rapidly. The country is under pressure to modernize and compete in a global economy increasingly driven by technology. Well, artificial intelligence is emerging worldwide as a key driver of economic growth, education, and security solutions. Now we examine how AI could help Nigeria tackle its biggest challenges, create opportunities and ensure it keeps pace with global innovation. Joining me for this conversation, Fiyinfolu Awotoye is an AI researcher and data management specialist joining me right here in the studio. It's great to have you on the show, sir.
Thank you.
Have you. Good morning.
Thank you. Good morning, Daddy.
Fantastic. Yeah, so, we're talking AI at this point and, how Nigeria can also, build its AI capabilities at this point. But while we're talking about this, we're also seeing in the U.S. and, other developed economies, they're talking about an AI bubble, at this point. And I'm wondering, okay, if an AI bubble is coming, should we really put much attention there as a country, at this point?
Yeah.
But what are you seeing about that whole, narrative of an AI bubble? They're saying the valuations are too high, for these companies. We don't have any thing to show us what profitability will be like, for these companies. How are you seeing that?
Yeah, so, Daddy, very good question. One way to look at it is that AI as technology has come to stay without a bubble. Now, the investors can choose to create a hype and can choose to value AI higher than it actually is. And that is where the bubble comes. So the bubble is more for the investors than for the technology itself. And of course, companies are becoming more concerned because AI projects are failing. And we have this MIT report recently that talks about over 90% of AI projects failing. So that should give any reasonable investor some concerns. But then the approach to the implementation of AI is the real cause of the failure. And people are still seeing AI as your old products, regular product technologies, but AI comes in a different way. So that's why we have something different.
Right, because, definitely investors, traders, they love to check all these companies, that deal with AI. They like to find out what they're spending, on AI. And I got that information recently. There was a time we had that metaverse hype.
Yes.
And now we heard that Meta, they've cut down on spending, on Meta. And I'm wondering, is that going to play out, for artificial intelligence? Are these big companies really going to, cut spending on AI?
Well, it's still too early to have a very correct prediction. But one thing is sure, that the concept of the metaverse is different from the concept of AI. The concept of the metaverse, Mark was trying to bring everybody into this meta world, if you let me put it that way.
Okay.
This imaginary world.
All right. Just hold your thought now. We'll continue just to the moment. For our DSTV viewers now, we're joining a live coverage, Empowering Student Innovation Across Nigeria. That's holding now, and talking about empowering students. We'll join that, but other platforms you can still follow the money right here on Business Morning. So sorry for interrupting you there,
no
but
problem.
you can conclude with your thoughts.
Yeah, so basically the concept of the metaverse is completely different from the concept of AI. The metaverse was not really designed to help businesses improve, to help improve efficiencies, in the office space and all those things. So I think they are completely different concepts, and they will have different life cycles.
Right, and talking about education, at this point, I guess, when you look at, what's playing out with education in Nigeria, sometimes, you wonder how, Nigeria can actually, lead or somehow, match up when it comes to artificial intelligence and other technologies at this point. Looking at our education system right now, where do we have to tweak? Where do we have to make changes?
I definitely believe we need to change. Well, we need to continuously review our curriculum to ensure that we have the latest AI trends embedded or enshrined in the curriculum. And that way, we will be able to literally keep up to pace. Then I feel we also need public-private sector partnerships, where the organizations in the private sector that are implementing top-notch AI solutions are allowing students see what's happening. So for instance, most of the education I've received outside Nigeria has given me the opportunity to see real-life implementation of what is being taught in the class. For instance, we were learning about global politics, and we had a class where the longest-serving Prime Minister of the Netherlands was brought into the classroom. So you can imagine bringing that into the AI playbook. Go to the likes of MTN, the big tech companies in Nigeria, even the Microsoft, the Googles, reach out to them and form a sort of partnership between them and our schools at different levels, university levels. I think that will help create a very healthy level of awareness for the learners, and their curiosity will drive them to learn even more online. So those are ways that I think we can do.
Those are like quick fixes.
They are quick fixes, and on the long run, we definitely need to supply students with facilities and infrastructure to practice. If you look at the US, for instance, recently Microsoft announced, and not just Microsoft, Google, Oracle, AWS, they've all announced free curriculums and AI learnings for people in the high school and in different academic levels in the States. So I think our government too can start talking to these organizations. They are present here in Nigeria, and see how we can make those things available. Because let's face it, where people are trying to get enough power to do the basics, studying becomes second priority, or studying for AI becomes second priority. But the good thing also is that most of these learnings can be done with mobile devices, and a lot of people have that right now. So it's a whole lot of complex systems that we need to look into.
And when you look at the macros, at this point, in Nigeria here, we're seeing inflation that's decelerated so far into 2025, getting us about 16%. We've also seen that happen globally, but when you hear from the people, even abroad, they talk about not feeling that inflation drop when they go to the stores. And here, we had the rebasing, of our inflation data, and we've also heard, some consumers say, okay, we're not feeling it when we go to the supermarket and the market, when it comes to prices of goods. So I'm wondering, what role can AI play, when it comes to data? Most of this macroeconomic data, maybe at the collection stage, can AI give us a better picture of what's playing out with, for example, inflation?
Definitely, AI can improve things significantly. And one thing I need to also remind us is that AI works on your existing workflows. So if your workflows and business processes and the formulas for calculating inflation is bad, AI will help you compound and and make it even worse.
Garbage in?
Yeah, garbage in, garbage out. So it's about us defining the right workflows for calculating all these indices, and then putting AI on top of it to help fast track and also make the right projections. But what we teach AI is what it's going to use to deliver value to us. But to answer your question, the answer is yes. And I also believe that the government can start working with AI startups to work together to build new solutions. We've seen these play out very well in the defense industry in the US, where the military guys know the military tactics, they know what military is about, but they really didn't know about AI. Then they brought in the AI startups who sat with them, and after working together, they were able to come up with more solid military systems that were powered by AI.
Right. And when you use some of the AI platforms, some of them, they have paid version.
Yes.
And I've tried to look at the numbers for those paid versions. It's not cheap.
It's not.
When I see Ladi, you've exceeded your limits for blah blah blah,
yeah.
I check I'm like, oh no, I'll continue with free. At this point, so I'm sure small businesses they struggle with some of these affording some of these tools. At this point, what would you say could help a small business with affordability when it comes to AI tools?
Yeah, well, it boils down to the use, because right now there are lots of models and tools out there. Some are free, some are well cooked, some are half baked, these kind of things. But you will find a tool somewhere that will do what you want and that is free. That's one thing I know. For instance, if these guys tell you you've exceeded your limit, that's fine. You just move to another tool where you've not exceeded your limit and you keep recycling that way. I believe that will help. And I also believe the government can sort of try to subsidize access for the small businesses. For instance, I know some countries have created what they call special economic zones for tech companies. So they have special taxes, they have tax breaks here and there, so that these tech companies can also pass the tax breaks down to the users within the country. So suddenly you find out that, hey, that unaffordable upgrade that you just referred to now becomes affordable because the company is enjoying a tax break, or the company is enjoying some tax benefits from the government that now trickles down to you.
Right.
So those are some quick fixes there,
Right.
But on the whole, I think there will always be, a way to wiggle through.
Right. Okay. And taking you back to, most of the time, Africa, Nigeria, we end up being importers,
Yes.
of most of these technologies. And you've talked about, what the government can do, when it comes to education. Let's, get the foundation right, so that when, as you grow up, you get more ideas, to, produce more,
Yeah.
When it comes to artificial intelligence and all that. But, when you look at it, sometimes it just looks difficult. You try to imagine, okay, what policy they should take next as a government to actually make this a reality. So I'm wondering, at this stage, is it okay if some countries don't make it when it comes to artificial intelligence?
That's a big risk. That's a big risk, not making it, because AI is already in our everyday world, whether you embrace it or not. If you have a mobile phone, AI is there. If you use the banking facilities, they use AI. So AI is already all over the place. And instead of focusing on the big problems, can we start solving the problems, one step at a time? As they say, the journey of 1,000 steps, the journey of 1,000 miles starts, with a step.
Right.
So we can have a look at these problems from a holistic perspective, ask ourselves what policies can we put in place to help us be better, and then start implementing one step at a time. We will definitely get there, but staying behind will not help us. It will end up making us a consumer of technology instead of a net exporter of technology. And right now, we are positioned to be a net exporter of technology if we make the best use of the global landscape right now.
Right. And what sectors would you, say in Nigeria do you think AI would help, to create productivity when it comes to, agriculture? Are you seeing anything there?
I definitely will see a couple of sectors where we will get some near-term benefits. And when I say near-term benefits, I mean very tangible benefits. Yes, agriculture is one, healthcare, education, these, and of course the banking system that we just mentioned. If we talk about agriculture, right now AI will let a small farmer have access to immediate access to expert technology that only big farmers could afford some years back. And AI solutions that now speak Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba can warn the farmers of heavy rains coming, and sort of alert them and say, hey, don't apply too much fertilizer so that they don't get washed off. Things like that. In the healthcare, we can even build solutions that will help foreign doctors to see patients in Nigeria for.
So you don't have to pay that to transport yourself.
You don't have to
out of the
transport yourself.
country.
Yes, yes. And I've lived this experience, even though, for instance, I went for the routine eye checks. And I was brought into a room and I sat down. It was just me and the devices. And some guy appeared on TV. He was literally in another state. And he attended to me, told me, okay, put your eye here, tell me what you see, and you read all the numbers, and you check everything, and he tells you, okay, and he flips the lenses, and he tells you to read again, and everything happened via telehealth. So I think these are areas we can explore to sort of stretch the limited resources we have right now.
Fantastic. And, reduce costs.
Reduce costs, yes.
All right, thank you so much. It was great having this conversation with you.
Thank you, Ladi.
Fiyinfolu Awotoye is an AI researcher. Thank you for joining me on Business Morning today.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, we'll check out what's played out in global space in a moment. Do stay with us.